Hello students, the review of the annual examination, most probable histology structures which will be asked in the examination. In anatomy paper second, question number 3. 3 short notes from the lower limb are there and 3 histology slides or histology structures are being asked in question number 3, anatomy paper second. So there will be hardly 10 structures, maximum 10 structures. They are very frequently and routinely asked. There are more than 20 slides in your syllabus, in your histology practical, but out of which only 10 structures are there which are of utmost importance. They are frequently asked in the MUHS examination as a question of a histological structure for 5 marks. Okay, so these structures we are going to describe in this lecture. Whatever is possible in this today's lecture, we will try to conclude these 10 structures of for the histology. Okay, now what are these 10 structures? See, one gonad is always there. One gonad, either testis or ovary, One histology from the alimentary tract, starting from the tongue to the anal canal. So any one of them. So most probable is the esophagus, then the tongue, stomach, small intestine, large intestine. These are the probable histology slides. Any one of them. So first is skin, second is gonad, and third is from the alimentary tract. The histology of the alimentary tract is almost similar, except that after entrance of the esophagus into the abdomen via esophageal opening, there is a serous covering, that covering of the peritoneum. Otherwise, see, in the tongue, in the pharynx, in the esophagus, there is no outermost covering of the peritoneum, so no fourth layer is there. So as it enters, as the tract, that alimentary tract enters into the abdomen, the serous coating or coating of the peritoneum is there. So that is the third one, and the fourth one is of accessory digestive organs. Accessory digestive organs consist of histology. Most important is the histology of the liver, secondly histology of the pancreas, and although not digestive, but one of the lymphoid structure, that is histology of the spleen. These 3 organs are frequently, any one of them or all the 3 may be asked as a histology question. So spleen, liver and pancreas. Spleen, pancreas and liver. These are the 3 important from the abdomen. In addition to this, the skin, just I have told, the skin is a fundamental structure that you have learnt in your secondary school also, in the higher secondary school, in 11th and 12th, epidermis and dermis and hypodermis. These are the layers of the dermis. You know the better functions of the skin, the layers of the skin. Then after to that, the glands, pituitary gland, thyroid gland, adrenal gland, and gonad is also one of the endocrine gland, but it is asked as a gonad, the testis and ovary. In addition to these gonads, the adrenal gland, the pituitary gland and thyroid gland. These are the, then islets of Langerhans. Pancreas is also one of the endocrine pancreas, but it is asked as a accessory digestive organ. Then these 3 glands, pituitary, then the thyroid gland and adrenal gland. Any one of these is being asked, or 2 or 3. Then the reproductive system, through the reproductive system, histology of the uterus, histology of the uterus and histology of the prostate. These are the probable questions. And from the muscles, either the cardiac muscle or non-stator or the skeletal muscle histology is being asked. Such a 10 important histology slides. Again revise. Skin. You must know, first of all, skin. Gonad, both the gonads, testis and ovary. Secondly, stomach, duodenum, small intestine, large intestine and rectum. Any one of them. And histology is almost similar of this, all the alimentary tract. There are some exceptional things. For example, the stomach consists of the gastric glands. Then the small intestine consists of the, in the mucous membrane, there are, in the ileum, there are pairs of the patches. Then the villi are there. So certain differences are there. Otherwise, you can, the layers of the histological layers of the whole of the alimentary tract is almost similar. So that is second, skin. Then the one of the endocrine gland. Then even one more thing is remained, that excretory system, kidney, histology of the kidney and histology of the lungs, histology of the kidneys and histology of the lungs. Then endocrine, one of the endocrine organ, lungs is being asked, one of the gonad, digestive system, respiratory system. Then the excretory system, from excretory system the kidneys are being asked. So you must know some fundamental things regarding that particular organ. For example, kidney. The structural and functional unit, kidney is covered by capsule. The structural and functional unit of kidney में क्या रहता है? The nephron. Nephron is a structural and functional unit. How many nephrons are there and what are the parts of nephron? If you know the histology, you can easily describe 2 to 3 diagrams. You can make a separate diagram of the nephron, a TS, the coronal section of the kidney. Then the you may show the cortex and medulla, separate diagram of that. So it depends on how fastly you write and how fastly you gather 5 marks short note. And important points you should not vastly write. 5 marks liable for the 5 marks. 5 मार्क का है, 5 मार्क का है तो 5 मार्क के काबिल ही लिखो, थोड़ा ज्यादा लिखो, लेकिन 5 मार्क के important points you have to immediately or collectively in a short manner you have to write. Okay, so starting from the skin, the see the diagram which I have sent, diagram of the skin. So skin and its appendages. Skin has some appendages. For example, these hairs are the appendages. It is a conversion. Nails are the appendages of the skin. Then the sweat glands, sebaceous glands. Then the arrector pilorum. These are the converted parts of the skin. What is nails? Here, these are the converted. They are the appendages. They are skin basically converted into other parts. Okay. Now, there are 2 types of skin. Skin over the palm. See, skin over the palm, skin over the sole. The thick and thin skin. So some skin is directly adheres to the undercover superficial fascia. It is not very difficult to separate it from the superficial fascia. For example, this palm. The skin over the behind the elbow. It is devoid of hairs. There are no hairs behind the elbow. It is because throughout the life it goes on friction. So certain skin over the knee joint. It is little bit having less numerous hairs are there. it has to get friction throughout the life. So such a type of skin which come in contact with the ground or hard object, that skin naturally becomes hereditary, or even it becomes thick. So thick and thin skin are there. So skin is an organ, skin that covers the whole body. Skin is the largest organ of the body, which forms about 1/6 of the total body weight of the individual. There are two types of the skin, thick skin and thin skin. Histologically, skin has two layers, inner dermis and outer epidermis. Epidermis and dermis, from outside inward. These are the histological two layers. Now, we have seen the skin and skin appendages. Now, the differences between thick skin and thin skin is the thick skin epidermis layer is more thickened, the corneal layer is very prominent, the dermal papillae is better visualized, hair follicles are absent in the thick skin, localized sole of a foot or a palm of the hand is an example of a thick skin, and sebaceous glands are absent. In the thin skin, sebaceous glands are there, hairs are there, sebaceous glands are there, epidermis is thickened, corneal layer is thin, dermal papillae is not so good. Then the hair follicles are present in the thin skin. Now, actual structure of the skin. Skin consists of outer epidermis and the inner dermal layer. It can be explained below. Epidermis is an outermost layer of the skin, consists of the following different layers. That is stratum basal. It is the basal cell layer made up of the simple columnar epithelium. Here all the cells are mitotically active and resting on basement membrane other than the stem cells. It contains a few melanocytes, Merkel cells and keratinocytes in it. The second is stratum spinosum. Just above the basal layer there lies a multicellular layer made up of several polygonal cells. These cells are attached to each other by numerous dermatomes which give a spine-like appearance on the cells, hence the name is a stratum spinosum. This cell layer is called as a prickle cell layer or Malpighi cell layer, and a few Langerhans cells are also seen in this layer. Then the stratum granulosum. The stratum granulosum, it is the thick layer of the flattened cells found just above the stratum spinosum. Cells of these contain more basophilic keratoline granules in it, hence the name is stratum granulosum. Then the stratum lucidum. Stratum lucidum is the amorphous clear homogenized cell layers seen above the stratum granulosum. Here the cells are flat and no differentiating cell boundaries, and the flat nuclei here and there. The layer is well developed in thick skin. Now the stratum corneum. It is the outermost layer of the epidermis. It is the outer thick skin beneath the stratum lucidum. Here all the cells of the flat dead are no nuclei and boundaries, layer of a rich keratin, and the prominent stratum corneum is seen in thick skin, where it is very thin or absent in the thin skin. Now the dermis. See the layers I again revise: the stratum spinosum, then the stratum granulosum, stratum lucidum, stratum corneum. These are the layers. See, epidermis consists of the stratum corneum, stratum lucidum, stratum granulosum, stratum spinosum. Then these are the main important layers. Now the dermis, the inner layer of the skin. This is the inner layer of the thick skin below the epidermal layer. Dermis of the thick skin tries to invaginate into the epidermis in the form of a papillae known as a dermal papillae. Similarly, downward projections of epidermis in the dermis is called as the epidermal papillae, the ridges. different layers of the dermis are, there are three important layers of the dermis. The first one is a papillary layer. It is an outer layer of the dermis rich in loose areolar connective tissues, blood capillaries in it, dermal papillae containing the Meissner's corpuscles are seen in this layer. The reticular layer, it is the inner layer of the dermis seen below the papillary layer. It chiefly consists of irregular bundles of the collagen fibers with few elastic fibers in it. Appendages of the skin are usually present in this area along with few adipocytes and the muscles in it. The hypodermis, the layer below the dermis, is called as a hypodermis. Hypodermis is thick skin, contains two sensory receptors called as the Pacinian corpuscles. Apart from the hypodermis is a rich adipose tissues and the muscle fibers in it. This is about the thick skin. Now the thin skin consists of the some important differences we have already clarified the important. Now the functions of the skin. Skin is a protective, first of all, mechanical barrier of the external environment and internal environment, provides protection, plays an important role in the regulation of the body. Then melanocytes are present in the skin to prevent the injury caused by the ultraviolet rays. आपल्या त्वचेला रंग का असतो? To prevent the inner structures. Nature has given the melanocytes in the skin to protect the under structures. Secondly, the keratin, a sulfur containing protein of the skin, is antibacterial in action and prevents skin infections. There are many receptors for heat, cold and temperature of the skin surface. Hence, it acts as a sensory organ. So these are the main important functions of the skin. Now you can write what are the appendages of the skin. Appendages, the hairs, nails, the sebaceous gland. These are the converted or the appendages of the skin. Now the skin, most common. There are number of skin infections. You can write the number of applied anatomy points. The eczema, sebaceous gland, sebaceous cyst, inflammation of the sebaceous gland. Then the hair follicle inflammation. You can write. Then the hair follicle, that is folliculitis. So number of clinical anatomy points you can write. Thick skin, thin skin. So number of, and you may write separate diagram of a thick skin and thin skin. You may add functions of four functions, that is protection, body regulation of body temperature, melanocyte protection from the that ultraviolet rays of the sun. So these are the this is about the histology of the skin. Very easy to write.